In the early 60s, arrived for the Castrol race day at the historic East London Grand Prix circuit. And what a setting, right? Nearly a second faster than Terry Moss, the log leader. Cyril van der Merwe's Ford really getting around the circuit very, very quickly indeed. Chris Aberdeen, Moss's teammate, the Rothmans Audi, was third, and we were all set for a mighty battle. Ben Morgan, who'd been so fast on the Thursday before official practice, was back in fourth position. And more than 30 cars came up to the starting lights. It's a rolling start as they got in behind that Wesbank limo around the circuit, and they're on their way. 10 laps, 40 kilometers of racing on the circuit. And Cyril van der Merwe already going up this long straight to the notorious Potter's Pass with his bumpers in the front. And Terry Moss trying to go through in the inside. It's Aberdeen losing out to Moss as Moss follows van der Merwe along the long straight there to Rifle Bend, which is the fastest corner in South African motorsport. Then it is Aberdeen, then it is Ben Morgan route. As they go heavy onto the brakes, they go down to Kokobana corner. It's van der Merwe in the Sassel Ford. Then it's Terry Moss, Rothman's Audi, his teammate Chris Aberdeen. So fast around circuits, so smooth and fast indeed. And then Morgan route with that screaming rotor, four-rotor engine of the Mazda is howling along behind them. Very fast along this beach straight as they come into the kink. It's right through the S's, and then it's left as they get into this Cox's corner, go to the outside of the circuit. You can't let go here. You have so many cars spinning out. It's van der Merwe and Moss chasing, and Aberdeen and Ben Morgan route in that Mazda. And there's a sweep that's caught so many cars out this year in racing. It's slippery at the best of times. And then they accelerate up to Beacon corner. Tight hairpin, right down through the box into second. It's van der Merwe, a very wide car he's driving. He's not going to let them through easy. And Moss is coming up to challenge. As he comes towards us, those turbos are working overtime. It's the popping and squeaking Audis. It's the screaming and banshee wailing Morgan route going after van der Merwe. But look at the speed of that car, capable of over 300 kilometers an hour. And Morgan route, he's broken a suspension strut and comes to a stop up Potter's Pass. And that's him out. His chances of winning overall, where he won first time out in that Mazda, have gone for the day. And they're starting to get in the traffic now. Van der Merwe getting away from Moss, coming up on the D-Class car of Cliff Wilkinson, that little Honda Ballard going very well, setting up a lap record in this race, in fact. And you can see the speed of these big turbocharged cars, just how quickly they get through the traffic. And Moss is starting to close. And Aberdeen's hanging on to him. So along this beach straight, they're approaching us at 240 kilometers an hour. They've got Keith Carr ahead of them. Needs to be watching his mirrors. It's van der Merwe. And you can almost see the lines of determination on Terry Moss there as he slides that Audi round Cox's. And Aberdeen's looking for a way through too. He wants after Cyril van der Merwe as well. Round the sweep. It's Moss. He is really trying. When you start to get on the dirt that way, you're trying, but the penalty for that is losing that motor car altogether, as he did here at the last meeting in April when he went off on pod. Race well and truly under control as Ben Morgan route, with the Warren Mayer, the Speedway champion, getting inside him in that little Sabat Golf. Morgan Hood is pushing his way, he's just pushing that wheel along to make his way back to the pits. And here's the leader of Class C. It's the incredible little Toyota Sprinter, tuned by Roger Taylor and driven by his son Anthony. Incredibly quick. It breaks lap records wherever it goes, not by a fraction of a second, but by seconds. He's well in control of that C-Class in that 1600 Toyota. Behind him, he's got Dave Repsold in a similar motor car, the Automark Toyota. And then they've got George Bezuidenhout behind him and Keith Carr in the 16-valve 2-litre Volkswagen. There's not too many of those in captivity. And this is where van der Merwe shows the experience, years of experience in motor racing, getting through the traffic. They sportingly move over as he goes round that sweep. He's on the limits of the adhesion of those tyres. Those tyres are getting very hot as we go into the final stages of this race. Heavy braking up at Beacon. He's been watching his mirrors, and Moss is not getting any closer. Aberdeen is right on Moss's tail. And then it's Larry Wolford in the Sabat Audi and Richard Sorensen in the Accord Sound Audi. And van der Merwe is coming to the line. He's going to win it. He won down at Midvaal. He's winning at East London. And that's his first two wins since his last victory that he had at Kyalami way back in January. Cyril van der Merwe in the Sassel Ford wins it. Terry Moss is second and Chris Aberdeen third in that pair of Rothmans Audis. So there's the results, Class A, as we say, Sorrel van der Merwe, that Cecil Ford. It's a 2-litre Cosworth engine, Terry Moss and Aberdeen, the Rothmans Audi cars, and Larry Wolford in the Sabre Audi. In Class B, Ray Wolford, lucky there to get his win. Johan Kipsey went off and ruined the spoiler of his motorcar, but still finished second. Anthony Taylor, a lap record for him. Dave Repsol well up in the field with him, and George Kazane in the Nissan Sentra behind those two Toyotas. And Charles Wilkin, he did very well to win it. He also had a coming together with another car in the little Toyota Conquest. Had set in the Opel Kadett, brings in good results. And Wilkinson got a lap record in that 1400cc class. Sides on the pace across the line as they look for the green light. He's on the left-hand side of your screen. He'll get the first stab at putting his foot down, as he does now, and he's on his way. And they're all trying to hang on to him. Aberdeen's right behind him. He wants to squeeze out Terry Moss. On the outside goes the go to Potters. In a bad position is Moss. Is he going to move across as they go to Potters? He does it once again. Kicking up the dust is Van der Merwe, and Moss is hanging onto Van der Merwe. He doesn't want to let him go. He's under his back wing. Then it's Aberdeen, and listen to the scream of that Banshee wailing Mazda. Brakes down to Cocobana. If you let go here, you go straight on down to East London. It's Van der Merwe with Moss more determined than ever. Along the Sea Strait, they're on the way to the Kink. It's about a half a kilometre away. Aberdeen is third. Then it's Morganroot. Then the Sabat Audi of Larry Wolford, and he's been worried there by Richard Sorensen, who's done so well this year, picking up points at every race. He's in their Claude Sound Audi, and Moss is really intent on getting past Van der Merwe. When he raises dust, those Aberdeen, you can see them sliding those four-wheel drive cars. When they start to raise dust, they are using every bit of this track and just a little bit more. The penalty, of course, if you go off, you're going to go off at a great rate of knots. It's Van der Merwe. He makes that car super wide as he goes onto the brakes. He's allowing no gaps for the others to come through. Uses all the road, powers it on. And there you can see that Audi. Four-wheel drive or not, Van der Merwe, keep holding his position. And if you're going to come past Terry Moss, you'll have to find the way past on your own. Here's that incredible little Toyota duo once again, the Toyota Sprinter of Anthony Taylor. Flies around the circuit. And Dave Repsol's giving chase. Had a bit of gearbox problems in the first race. He's getting ahead of Taylor. Two very competent drivers, and there's more gearbox trouble by the look of it there for Repsol. And just behind them, little Sabat Skyline of Ray Wolford going very well. He won the class in the first race. He's second at the moment and staying right up there with him, trying to find a way through. But look at the speed of that Toyota. He revs it to more than 10,000 RPM. A 1600cc car steadies that car. It's 2-foot pedaling as he goes through there. Keeps his foot down, then just stabs the brakes. Late to the brakes too. He won the Formula GTI Championship a few years ago. At 16 years old, a very competent driver is this young man from Krugersdorp. A beautifully prepared motor car. Ray Wolford's now got ahead there of Dave Repsol, battling with that gearbox. And he's a rugged competitor, former stock car driver, has been into this former racing, very aggressive. And it would be lovely to see him in a bigger motor car, perhaps in Class A, bringing that stock car experience and aggression into Class A. Nicely turned out car. This was previously owned by his uncle. Larry Wolford did very well, was leading the Wesbank Championship until he swapped over to that Sabat Audi. And Morganroot on a charge. He's now disposed of Chris Aberdeen. You can see the bumps on the circle as he goes up to Potters. And he's off to Terry Moss. Sorrel van der Merwe's got a little bit further ahead of Moss. And Morganroot is chasing. Sparks from the skid plate under his motor car. He's getting closer and closer, and he's lost at that time. Precious seconds are lost there, and Moss takes full advantage of that and keeps well ahead of him. There are 7 of these engines, these 4-rotor motors built in the world, and South Africa has 2 or 3 of them. These are the engines that Mazda used to win the Le Mans 24-hour in this sort of motor car, and Ben Morganroot is driving one of them. And he's getting that little bit closer to Terry Moss all the time. And listen to that glorious sounding wail. And Van der Merwe now getting through the traffic, still in the lead, going on to his double for the day. And when Van der Merwe's on a charge, whether it be in a rally or a Wesbank modified race, he's certainly looking very good. Comes upon Cliff Wilkinson in that Honda Ballard. It's also one of the few Hondas that race in this country. And look at him getting through the traffic. Here's Patrick Seddon. Sorrel van der Merwe does the double. There's Terry Moss. And Ben Morganroot comes through in 3rd position. He moves alongside Sorrel van der Merwe, these 2 PE men, and waves to him and says, well done. Nothing you can do about it today, but they're going to meet again at Kyalami, and then it could be a different story. Sorrel van der Merwe, the winner in the Cecil Ford. And alongside him, Terry Moss, a great performance in that Rothmans Alley. Two very, very aggressive drivers, with a third one coming to the picture now, Ben Morganood. And he really does try hard. For Terry Moss in the Rothmans Alley, Ben Morganood in the Sasol Mazda, that four-rotor machine, and Chris Aberdeen ahead of Larry Wolford and Richard Sorensen. Jan Coetzee takes his rightful place ahead of Class B in the Gearmax Skyline. Ray Wolford next, and Anthony Taylor, another lap record. Dave Repsol getting through to second. George Brizane in this one. And Keith Coleman, the traffic officer from Port Elizabeth in the Volkswagen Golf. Charles Wilkin, another lap record for him ahead of Patrick Seddon in the Opel. Dave Runkel in the Golf. And